everyone talks about Can Yaman. For some, he's an idol. For others, a controversial figure. But behind that chaotic life stands a quiet, decisive presence. His mother. She never appears in the media, never gives interviews, yet she follows every step of her son with intelligence and patience. The last few years of Can's life have been turbulent. Wrong friendships, fleeting romances, bad habits, and bursts of anger have damaged his image. His mother suffers in silence but has chosen a strategy of waiting. She knows that any word now would be misunderstood, surrounded as he is by fake friends and flatterers. A mother's silence is not weakness, but an invisible cry. In this toxic world of fame, Can is lonely and disoriented, and she stays in the shadows, ready to reach out when the time is right. His true salvation is not in a new love or a new project, but in the strength of the one person who has never abandoned him, his mother. When I think of Demet Özdemir, I see a woman who has chosen dignity and resilience. While Can exposes himself too much and appears fragile, Demet stays discreet, focused on her work, and coherent in her choices. The public notices. He draws controversy. She earns respect. Demet is no longer just a beloved TV actress. She is a woman who protected herself from manipulations and toxic influences, building an image of strength and clarity. Many see her as the exact opposite of Can. While he is trapped in chaos, she stands solid and authentic. Can and Demet will always be linked in the fans' memories, but their paths have grown far apart. He seems obsessed with proving his independence and power, while she shows that real strength lies in calm, silence, and consistency. Demet has understood that fame is fleeting, but talent and discipline endure. Through discretion and authenticity, she has built a prestige worth more than any magazine cover. And that, perhaps, is her greatest victory. This is why I believe Demet represents a model of authenticity, while Can stands at a crossroads. The public has not forgotten his past successes, but today many see him as lost. Demet, however, continues to grow, earning her place with coherence and dignity. What is most admirable about Demet is that she has never betrayed her essence. She may not always please everyone. Some judge her for not showing much of her private life, but that is exactly where her strength lies. She decides what to reveal and what to keep. In a world where overexposure is confused with authenticity, Demet has preferred to protect her privacy, safeguard her circle, and carefully choose what she shares with the public. And this, far from diminishing her, makes her an example of self-control and coherence. I cannot avoid comparing her to Can because their paths crossed at a crucial moment. Together, they were an explosive duo on screen, one that many still remember fondly. But while he seems to have lost part of his compass, she has remained firm, navigating between criticism and applause with surprising balance. This doesn't mean she hasn't made mistakes, we all do, but it means she knew how to rise again and learn from each misstep. Some say that the press and YouTube channels have insisted on inventing stories about her love life, trying to tie her to Can or any man close to her. And yet, she has made it clear that her true worth does not depend on who she is with, but on what she builds day by day. That is perhaps her greatest difference from many of her colleagues. Demet doesn't need to cling to a relationship to be relevant. She already is, on her own merit. I respect her more and more because despite the pressure, she has kept working hard, choosing meaningful projects, seeking growth. She doesn't settle for repeating formulas, she doesn't conform, and that restlessness is what makes her stand out. She wants more, and demands it first of herself. That hunger for evolution is what keeps her alive in the industry. That's why, when I see her constantly compared to Can, I think the real story isn't who did better or worse after Erken Çikuş. The real story is that she managed to remain firm, while he took steps that still raise doubts. Demet, on the other hand, conveys clarity even amidst the noise. She represents that silent strength that doesn't need constant defense because the best defense is the coherence of her own journey. Ultimately, I believe Demet Özdemir is not only a talented actress, but a woman who embodies something deeper, the ability to remain authentic in the middle of the storm. And if today so many fans defend her with such passion, it's because they feel she never betrayed them. On the contrary, she has shown vulnerability when necessary, strength when required, and dignity always. Demet, to me, is an example of how fame should be lived, with feet on the ground, discipline, and emotional intelligence. And although her story will continue to be linked to Can Yaman's for a long time, I am convinced that she has already earned her own place, untouchable, built with her effort and with the truth of someone who doesn't need to pretend to shine.